Hey, aloha, guys. I'm going to start this emergency Tavor broadcast here because let's see. Basically, there was supposed to be one on gun sites channel, and that kind of got messed up. And apparently, nobody on that chat actually knows anything about bullpups. I think one guy said he owned one at a store once. He held one at a store once. Yeah. Congratulations, he held one at a store. And like the other people said they don't know anything about it. So he could have invited me, but he didn't. So anyway, I'm going to post this link on the bullpup forum, and we're going to see if anything happens. All right, so let's go to the bullpup forum, log in, and see if we could actually have a real live Tavor Chat. I'd like to cover some of the accessories, the current YouTube stuff, and the war in Gaza, even, which actually you could say was the Israeli independence war, which never really stopped because everybody keeps wanting to kill Jews. So, but we'll start with the rifle, man, and go with that because everybody likes the Tavor, and it's like one of the hottest rifles out there. It had Rifle of the Year, and I think last year was Rifle of the Year, and in the what was it, American Rifleman, they got some award, NRA, or whatever. But they sold 20,000 rifles in a year. It's a brand new rifle, so it's worth a couple. It's worth a hot diggity damn for that. How can gun websites completely just mess up that opportunity? Well, I guess it is what it is. It's a cool site. I like the guy G-Webs that runs it. Let me just fuck that one up. You allowed to say that on YouTube? Well, let's see. They just fucked that one up. Let's see if anybody does anything about it. All right, let's see. I'm on the Bullpup forum. I'm gonna start a new topic. Typing everything in here. So if you want to log on to this event, go to the Bullpup forum. And you got something to say about the Tavor? Go to the Bullpup forum. I'm just posting a new thread with a link on it right now. Okay, guys? Let's see, live Google Chat Hangout. Here's a link to log on. Here's a link to log on and chat about wars. All right, subject, exclamation point. All right. I'll put it in bold and underline it, if that helps. Post. All right. Now let me get back to my chat page. All that stuff is done. All right. I've learned to work the sound effect buttons, but so I'm going to start this chat. Don't know if anybody else is going to show up with the links live, so this may go a while before somebody actually shows up. So I've got a Tavor about it's been over a year, and it's a fun rifle to shoot. I painted it. I've got some videos. I painted it. Did a tiger stripe camo. Got my Hawaii Hunters course so I could take it out there in the jungle and pay my $10 a year, which just renewed, is rolled over. So I pay $10 a year for your hunting license, and you can go run around in the jungle with a rifle in designated rifle hunting areas, and not get arrested, because you can't carry anywhere else in Hawaii. But on the Big Island, we survived Hurricane Zell, and after the roads open up and the power comes back on the east side of the island, where a lot of the hunting zones are, then and there's no power there, so I don't think they have any of the 4D LNR agents are around, or anybody's at the post where you're supposed to check into the hunting areas. But so I'm going to try and talk about the Tavor. So IWI makes this rifle. They sold 20,000 the first year. A lot of you guys know about the channels. Tim at Military Arms is he got his tour and YouTube, and they thanked him for promoting the rifle and all. Now, for me, the reason that I bought one had nothing to do with that. If you saw my AK-47 ammo score video, I kind of tagged on the end there about, grandfather Abraham, kind of, they were refugees from Poland, and they fought their way back from Kyrgyzstan. Because basically the only way, he didn't want to be in the army. He was a sapper, but he had to. The only way not to die in a concrete labor camp in Kyrgyzstan was to volunteer to fight, and that's where the 2nd Polish Corps was. And I got some pictures and documentation there in that AK-47 chat. Anyway, so he fought his way back as a sapper, and he didn't want to fight. He just didn't want to die, so he volunteered. Anyway, that's why I got one. Holocaust survivor family, and I'm the grandson, so I got an AK-47 and I got a Tavor, and they're both two very different rifles. Just comparing them. Obviously, one is a little more modern than the other. One is simpler to maintain and use than the other. I guess that's the AK, right? One always goes bang, and the IWI Tavor most always goes bang. Which is that's kind of brings me to some weird shit over with IMI, but the whole thing here. I'm trying to phrase this in a honest manner, because there's a lot of stuff going on with all the accessory companies, and there's the war in Gaza, and so there's tons of stuff to talk about. So let's see. The good news is that there's a lot of new add-ons and accessories and new triggers coming out. Some of them actually work. Obviously there was a story, I guess, that somebody posted on the Sun Times from Canada, I guess that's where it is, that a lot of the Arab countries are always banning Israeli products, or trying to start an international boycott of Israel. So some people saying buy a Tavor rifle or Sabra hummus sauce, and they're both great products, by the way. That's actually really a strange thing, because they just switched. IMI at IWI switched from they're switching from the Command Arms magazine to PMAG Gen 3s, and here's the whole thing. When they originally put out the Tavor, one slogan was, when they first put it out, was that it was compatible with every M4 style 30-round mag. And well, is it? Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. There's been some. It seems like the one thing they didn't say in Tim from Military Arms Channel walkthrough was why they switch mags. And if you're going to be supporting Israeli companies, then well, Command Arms, it's an Israeli company. But and here's the thing: in March, here's the whole thing. IMI used to be like a state-owned entity by Israel, and then IWI, they put it on the block, I guess, and IWI is now part of the Sammy Katzoff group, and they also make a lot of things. It's a conglomerate, and I have posted IsraelDefense.com article, and Sammy Katzov, they covered his life, as an arms dealer and stuff to the Shah of Iran back in the day. And but this is his, group, and they make some great products. And I think they own an Israel Naval Company, do some stuff. Of course, they're still getting subs from Germany, and it's a good thing because Germany knows how to make subs. Those Dolphin subs that kick ass. They aren't going to compete on that. But so anyway, back to what I was told. What was I talking about? We're talking about IWI. So yeah. So why did they switch mags? Because you would think they would want to support an Israeli company, which is, I guess, what they did at the start. But in March, I guess, I don't know if this is related. I don't know why they switched to just money. They didn't say why, so I'm going to speculate. Could be the PMags are cheaper, but they've already got a bunch of. They're going to still be shipping them until they run out of the Command Arms style mags, but Command Arms is an Israeli company, and because now the optics, the IDF has still a tender offer. They want to buy 20,000 new optics to update the M31, which is getting old. I don't know if the tritium's fading. I'm not sure about the half-life deal on that, but this tritium is a half-life that decays over time, and the red dots are only going to be good for so long. But maybe they just want more optics and more options and larger fields of view, which gets us into the whole thing. So Mikey Hartman developed this now discontinued product, and then here's the thing about me. I don't have any relationships with any manufacturers. I don't get invited to IWI. I don't get a ticket to Israel to go travel. They let you fly. They still let you fly into the airport now. Again, that's really great. I support the state of Israel, but and the IDF, but I don't have any relations with manufacturers, so I don't really care what they think. I'm going to say what I think, and what I think is that it's like, here's an example of people in. Well, let me go a little further first on my initial train of thought. So Mikey Hartman moved from California to Israel, I don't know, 30 years ago or 20 years ago, whenever, and he was in the IDF, and he was like the best shot around, and they put him in charge of the marksmanship school, basically, long story short. And before he retired, he developed this new sight with the IDF and Star Defense Systems called the MSE AQC 1, and now they have an MSE AQC 2, and it's a really nice red dot, and it has a large field of view, and it has multiple. It doesn't just have one, either a dot or a star or a cross. You could select the brightness. You could select the particular what kind of designator it has. Whether you can have a dot or actual red dot, or it's got one with a line. I did a whole review on that optic, or a cross, quick shot. Anyway, it's supposed to be an accurate quick shot, and that's a whole other thing that I teased him about in my video, but review of that. But so here's the whole thing with why did they switch magazines now, and how is this all related? Let's see. So how is this all related? Well, okay, so Mikey Hartman gets appointed this March 14th or something like that as the CEO of Command Arms in Israel. Command Arms make a bunch of stuff. They have a U.S. Company that they sell online with all their stuff, and got some interesting items. They sell the Ronis, kind of like it's like a prefabricated, thing that costs like you create a short barrel rifle, and you put in a Glock or a Sig, or they make a bunch of different brands, and it turns it into a really cool short barrel rifle, and put the mounts, these, whatever red dot you want on it, and they're really cool. But they sell a bunch of other stuff too, and so yeah, you could check out their site. Basically, what happened was I bought the MSC. I think they put the wrong country zone on the DVD. They made a big deal about including a bunch of information on the DVD, but they didn't work in America. So I assume it was because of the wrong zone, but you couldn't get, it wouldn't even recognize it in America. So maybe they made them the DVDs for Israel or something and then sent them to America. But the optic worked great. So I wound up contacting Roger, and I had bought mine from Primary Arms. And Roger, I said, hey man, the DVD don't work. So, so he sent me all the info, all the stuff that was basically all the documents and Adobe PDFs and stuff about the info that was on, he said was on the DVD, and of course I don't know what was actually on the DVD because there was nothing on it that I could read anyway in America. So basically, I kind of went out, shot it around a bit, zeroed it in, had some fun, and I did a review of my experience on that particular optic, which is the only review. Now there we get into the whole YouTube, how YouTube is just fucked up when it comes to gun channels. So like we were supposed to have a Tavor Chat today, right? And what happens? Nothing. So that's the whole thing. I guess gun websites, gun channels. You have to sign up, and it's $1 a month, and I don't know. I'd been on there just White Gun Laws. It seemed like a bunch of nice guys mostly, and they're very knowledgeable. But I guess based on this chat, they don't know a lot about Tavors or bullpups. And I was supposed to get an invite, and I never did. Anyway, long story short, I wanted to go over a bunch of stuff with the Tavor and all the accessories available. And so here's the thing. A long time ago, I had asked Tim. When he reviewed like the Mepro M21, or a bunch of optics too, and when he first got his Tavor, and he said, no, it takes me a long time, to review an optic, and it takes me a long time to review anything, something like that. He never would review at the MSC, and so basically these companies are competitors, and IDF put out a tender offer, because they want to buy 20,000 new optics that they want to update, which I think I mentioned before. And so what's happening is the companies are competing are Trijicon, MSC, Aimpoint, and Meprolite, which is Sammy Kassoff Groups, which makes the Tavor. Of course, if you've seen the war footage in Gaza from the IDF NA site, YouTube channel, IDF-NA on YouTube. That's IDF, the North American desk. Most of the stuff is people with M16s, and as far as just standard squad rifles. Maybe the some brigades with special ops have the Tavors, and I know from what I've seen that they're introducing the Tavors, but I guess the M16s are all at the right price, because most of the people had that M4 type style carbons. But anyway, the Tavor. Let's go back to the optics. So, why did they switch mags? Was it because take no prisoners? There's a competition for the next 20,000 red dots. Now here's the whole thing. Mikey Hartman had this MSC, and his site is down. His MSC in Israel site, that's down. Now, all this went down right when the Gaza war started. So I don't know. Did he get called up, to fight? Or is he, now that he's a chief CEO of Command Arms in Israel, chief executive officer of Command Arms in Israel, I'm guessing again. I don't know. I asked Roger. I didn't. He seemed to want to tell me as little as possible. But since I have a review that has over 2,300 views, and he knows he got a lot of sales, he was polite, and basically said, yeah, there's, so I don't know what happened. Are they out of the competition, or did they win the competition, or is the competition on hold? Because they said a separate division, the non-fighting division goes through new, evaluates new products in the field for like the optic, and they said it was going to be like 40% based on the field evaluation and 60% cost. So, Star Defense is a conglomerate also, but it seemed like, Mikey owns MSC and Mikey Hartman, and so I'm trying to figure out what happened. if they won the competition, then they couldn't sell to the civilian market because they have to make 20,000 units for the IDF, and if they lost the competition, they couldn't sell to the public because there probably aren't enough international sales competing against the American marketing done by Trigicon. I mean, these are huge companies as far as the big players in the American optics market. Trigicon, Aimpoint, and Mepro. And these are like two Israeli conglomerates. Star Defense and Sami Katzov Group. So there's going to be some competition. Did they switch magazines because they wanted to? I mean, this is no money really. I mean, they sold 20,000 mags, 20,000 Tavors their first year, right? The Sami Katzov Group, and they but that's not, it's 20,000. Okay, 20,000 command artifact. That's not a huge amount of money, either way. It seems like that doesn't make any sense. Did they now? If the reason they won't answer why did they switch? I don't know, because they're now. This goes back to that. Well, are there any problems with fail to feeds in the with the bolt carrier group with the Tavor, or fail to loads? And the answer seems to be kind of yeah. If you load it all the way, or you overload it by one, some mags won't, including the one that came with it, won't go into the won't click into the rifle. So when you put it in the magazine well. So and there have been fail to feeds. I know when mine got dirty, I had to clean it. The bolt carrier group really thoroughly, and now it works fine. But so yeah, it's not an AK. If it's not lubricated, if that bolt carrier group, you got to take it out, take it apart, pull that little pin out, and then finagle it for 5 minutes to get it to go back in after you take it apart, clean it. But so it's not an AK. It's not it's not going to be that easy. But it's got a lot of advantages. Now I will say I always hit what I aim at with the Tavor, and so that brings us to the whole things. There's the optics. What's going to happen with the optics? Now, the Mepro, they've got their new. Here's the whole thing with Tim at the Military Arms Channel. First he throws a bomb. People in glass houses should not throw bombs at other people in glass houses. He throws a bomb at Jeff Quinn for his review of the Remington 51 pistol, right? And so it's like what? So Tim has like 250,000 viewers, subscribers, and Jeff Quinn has like 85 or something like that thousand. So anyway, he throws a bomb at his competition on YouTube, saying, "You did this review where you just slagged. You said what? You didn't say there were any problems with it." And I think both of these guys are pretty honest, but they don't. None of these gun channels, if there's a little problem, they don't talk about it. I mean, if there's a major screw up, yeah, like I think Tim did a review of some bullpup shotgun that didn't work too well, and he just but it didn't work at all, And I guess that maybe Jeff got a really nice. It made sure Jeff Quinn didn't get a lemon, from Remington when they sent him one, even though a lot of other people got some apparently, and they pulled that design in the end. So I'm going to keep drinking here. So they pulled the design, and what's happening is, so basically, he says, well, Tim is like, well, he did a post on the bank switch that, Jeff Quinn doesn't do, he just says only good things about guns, never says anything. Yeah, a lot of people just, if there's something bad with the gun, they'll just send it back, and say, well, I can't do a review on this because it doesn't work. No, they gave him a gun that worked, but I've noticed that, like, I did my very first gun review ever was on the LC380, which is a cool little, concealable pocket pistol, and it did have everything that Jeff Quinn said about an interview was right, but he left out some stuff, like the magazines cost $40 each. That's like a catch on the rear end in the butt kind of a deal, and even on a $400 gun. But then, and the whole thing with the 380 is that spring is it's almost perfect, but not quite. Because here's the deal: if you have to really lubricate that gun and it completely and keep it that way, and you cannot limp wrist this thing at all, or it will fail to feed. And even sometimes, basically that little 380 round just doesn't always have, depending on how it's loaded. If you got one that's just slightly underpowered, it won't drive the slide back all the way, and at least not in a crisp fashion that will feed the next round. And you get some weird feed issue. You just have to rack it again to blow that round out and get another one. But so it is a 380, but it is a cool gun. I really like it. It's just that he didn't say some stuff about it that I think he should have. But it's still, everything that he said about it was accurate. But of course, the R51 was a disaster for Remington, I guess. But jokes on everyone who bought one. So now here's the issue I have with Tim at the Military Arms Channel was when I had this discussion with him about field of view and red dots after I did my MSC review on his bang switch. And first he slagged me because he's got a lot more experience than me, and I needed a couple 100,000 more rounds downrange before I should open my mouth. And then as far as having a wider field of view having any impact on anything. And since then people have told me that do run in guns, that if you're just sitting on a range, it's nothing. But if you're doing running guns and shooting around corners, and you have to run around, like in combat or at a run and gun shoot, then yeah, having a wider field of view keeps your thing on target. But what Tim did was when I said, I told him, okay, this isn't my theory. Take it up with Colonel Mikey Hartman. It's his theory. And he says, oh, I know about that guy, and I don't believe anybody. He's just some guy who's trying to sell me something. It was how he ended his argument. I won't take the word of somebody who's just trying to sell me something. And so basically, he was impugning the integrity of an IDF colonel to win an argument on the internet, which is impossible. You can't win an argument on the internet. But he went right after an IDF colonel, and since I'm the grandson of a Holocaust survivor, I took great offense, to that. Basically, that really pissed me off. If you're gonna insult, basically, you're gonna imply that an IDF colonel is going to develop a red dot optic for the IDF just to make money. I mean, the guy moved to Israel to fight with the IDF from California. I mean, I think he cares about the IDF, in Israel. So he's not, and he's the trained guy who ran the marksmanship, founded and ran the marksmanship school for 20 years. I don't think he's going to give his students a bad optic, and whichever optic wins or loses, or that contest, I don't know. That's up to the IDF. I know they got their hands full with being located where they are in general. Between Iran, between Iran, the Islamic State of whatever it is, the Hamas, and Iraq in a hard place. Between Iraq and a hard place, that's where the world is kind of right now. And political side note, I found it interesting that al-Maliki in Iraq, he borrowed a page from John Boehner. He's suing the president of Iraq. The Iraqi prime minister is suing the president of Iraq. Thank you, John Boehner, for putting this idea into al-Maliki's head. But we kind of actually follow the laws there. I'm not so sure how it works over in Iraq because I haven't had the honor of being into that country, and I don't think I'm gonna wind up there. I like Hawaii. This is the Hawaii Volcano Squad. So where are we at? We've got all these new accessories coming out. We've got this competition. We've got basically, Tim at the Military Arms Channels throws a stone at Jeff Quinn at the Gun Blast, that's his site, right? And really, but if you and basically considering how long he likes to have a thing, he says Tim likes to have an item to review. Well, guess what was reviewed on the Bank Switch before it was even released and are available? The new Sammy Katzhoff group, Meprolite, which really looks like a really great red dot. The new RDS True Dot red dot. It's basically the Meprolite, and they're for the competition. They're making the M5, um, and the M5 is not going to be available to civilians. For one reason it wouldn't be available, at least right now, is because if they win, they're going to have to make 20,000 units. But they've got the True Dot and the M5. The IDF changed the specs on what they want. Now, MSC, I've seen the AQC2 available. I think it's an REI lens or something, REI in Jakarta. So I don't know if they won and blew out their AQC2s there. Rogers, last time I talked to Roger, I got an email from him. He said he still has the MSC AQC1s, and their price is like around $700 for the ones. And in Jakarta, it's like two. The AQC2, it's like $400 and $500 with the infrared. Or it was like $400 without the infrared, and it was 500 with it, or maybe $6. And so it's like REI lens. Basically, so I'm trying to get all that together. But I think there's going to, I don't know if there is going to be another MSC optic available after Command Arms in the United States runs out of their current stock. And I don't even know if Mikey Hartman is deployed or not, so I have no idea what's going on with Command Arms. But so the whole optic thing is like really weird, because we've got the Meprolite, the same company that makes the Tavor, same conglomerate, and so what's happening with that is, they've got this inexpensive version that has aluminum tops. Apparently, the original spec for the optics for the IDF wanted in their $20,000 unit red dot, new red dots that they want, is they changed the specs, and so the aluminum tops got put into the first thousand of the True Dot, the new site for the red dot from Meprolite. But the M5, the military version for the IDF, that one is, if they, I don't know, but the whole next generation is going to be, and I haven't heard anything from Trujillo. Right now, the way things are in Israel, I'm not sure when that whole issue is going to be resolved or announced. I'm sure whichever company wins is going to say something, So, but there's a lot of competition, and this is a big boys game, and I'm sure Trujillo wants to win. I'm sure MSC and Command Arms would like to win. I'm sure that Aimpoint would like to win. But why did they switch mags? That you got to ask yourself that question. Why did they switch mags? Was it just cheaper? Was it because they didn't want to do business with Command Arms anymore? But so let's talk about some other non-competitive stuff. There's a lot of great new accessories coming out with Tavor, and if you go to the Bullpup forum, they've got a lot of them on there, and they seem like really knowledgeable people. And I think Tim interviewed the guy who has the new trigger, and people are talking about triggers for the Tavor. Basically, if you don't know, the Tavor is a bullpup, so there's a link that goes back from the trigger to where the mechanism is, and that means there's linkage, and so it's going to be a weird feeling trigger and have a lot of pounds on it. So basically, Timothy tried to put one out, and that had some problems, and this is, I think, the first one, the shooting sight trigger. It's called the Tav D, and I think Tim talked to the guy, and everybody seems to like it a lot, and I think Gazelle is coming out with one really soon. And there's going to be a lot of new options and for trigger wise on the Tavor, and so it's going to be really cool to have lots of, if I'm just going to wait a little while. I'm not in a rush. I don't need to be the first guy in line to get whatever the new thing is. And I'm going to just see when Gazelle has one and Tab D has one, and maybe even Timony gets theirs right, which I guess they had big screw up. When you rush into market, this is not an easy thing to do because of the way there's linkage all the way from the back from your trigger to where actual trigger is to where the device is that the linkage is. So they'll eventually get that right. Now we've got related to the optics. If you look at the girl on the Sun News report, which was linked in the Sun News Canada, there's this cute blonde with camo fingernail polish shooting it to for, and she does the whole thing with her necks cranked to the side. Yeah, people you can be able to tell somebody else is Tavor because they're going to walk up and cranking their right side of their neck from moving their neck over to the right, because basically you have the Tavor, if you mount a sight without an optic without a riser, you're going to hurt the back of your neck over time, because you've always got to crank it over to the right, because it's about I think it's supposed to be an AR is like 2.5 inches over the bore axis, and the Tavor is way lower. Which, I mean, it has the advantage of being your optic being closer to your bore, but you've got to crank your head all the way over to the right, and it's not exactly how you use a red dot that way. You kind of have a tendency to just close one eye instead of keep both eyes open. And so the Gearhead has a really cool called a Razorback, which is like a riser rail, and the rail, it's you take off the old rail and put on the new one, and it's full Picatinny across, and it's basically it rises. The rail itself rises up, so if you just mount an optic on it, you don't need a riser. And you don't have to crank your head all the way over. And so that changes the cheek weld, and that gets onto your ergonomics with how many optics and stuff. There's basically like 7 points of contact if you hold it the Israeli way, and then if you hold it with the American way, there's less, and if you use a foregrip, then you don't have any control. Well, not quite, but you don't have as much. And so when you're changing the cheek weld by rising the riser, I think I'm really going to have to get that riser, to be honest with you, but over time, but not in a rush. It's just that I really do like I hit everything I aim at, so why change it at all, right? But ergonomic wise, I mean, I know the guys in the Bedouin unit, everybody has an idea for the Tavor has some kind of riser, anyway, but they've got a short rail and a long rail that covers the whole thing, and I'm still trying to figure out if I have a LaRue flip to side mount and a primary arms magnifier behind my MSC sight that I can flip out of the way, and if I want to reach out and touch somebody, then I can flip it back into where it needs to be. And I really like the LaRue flip to side mount because it sticks the thing right where I left it, and the 3 times magnifier. So let's see. But so where we are with the whole YouTube thing and gun chat, it's like, there's always like 56 people on the gun chats or 100 people watch them. So I was hoping that would be a good Tavor chat, but they didn't invite anybody, or nobody showed up there that knew anything about bullpups. So I felt like I had to come out and say something about bullpups and the Tavor. So let's see, we've got the war in Gaza going on. And the article in the video with the girl with the nail polish, yeah, you can see her head cranked over to the side, and there she's talking about, the bans of how, people are banning, or say either buy Israeli products like, or Hamas from Sabra, or guns from Tavor, or, which is, I'm thinking, well, Command Arms was their magazine is an Israeli product, but you switch to an American product, That is, well, buy Israeli bonds if you want to help the state of Israel. That's what we used to do. But If you don't mind dead money for 15 or 30 years, and then you pick it up later, and you got yourself a nice interest rate, and you didn't risk your money in the stock market. But anyway, so that's on the bullpup forum. So I just thought that since nobody on the gun sites bullpup chat knew anything about bullpups, somebody ought to come on and do a chat. Anyway, so eventually I'm going to be interested in seeing comparative reviews when all the companies and more options become available. And there's a lot of good stuff for the Tavor out now, and it's just I'll say this in spite of whatever minor problems, and I think gun companies should be just they should want people that point out the little problems so they can be fixed. I mean, I guess everything gets magnified on the internet. And that's the problem, because if somebody comes out and said, well, there's this one issue with because of the design of the bolt carrier group that occasionally you'll get a light striker fire, it'll fail to feed. Then they'll think nobody will buy it, because everything is just so intense on the internet and people argue about it, and so that's why I don't think Tim should have thrown stones at Jeff for the whole. It's not Jeff's fault that the Remington had to recall the damn thing. That's on Remington, okay. But you got to take everything you hear on the internet with a grain of salt. I have a lot of fun shooting my Tavor. I'm looking forward to get some new range time. I did buy a new couple new mags that I can't wait to get out and try for the Tavor. I got the Lancer 5 M5 or whatever it is. It's basically a see-through M4 style mag with metal on the top instead of polymer. And I got a P mag Gen 3. So I want to see what the deal is. I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure out why the damn thing sometimes has problems. It's the lip. Some people say it's the lip. Some people say it's a bolt carrier. I don't have too many problems. I did have problems trying to load. I couldn't load in one with 31 rounds in it, and I had a problem with 30 on the some failed to feeds, and I definitely had a problem with on the 40 round with failed to feed too. But I was having really good luck with the one that came with it for quite some time. And when it got dirty, I had to clean the thing, and then I didn't have any more problems for a while. The bolt carrier group, and so we'll go out with some new magazines real soon. Hit the range and have a lot of fun. So I posted this link to the bullpup forum, and nobody showed up. But whatever. I think I got to say most everything I need, except with regard to the war in Gaza, you got the whole political narrative, that the Palestinians are pushing, and they've got all their Arab friends with money, and they run out the guys from the USS Liberty, every time anything with Israel happens. So the whole thing with regard to the USS Liberty is, what idiot admiral sent an intel ship this is like the war to save Israel from the only way Israel could win the war was to destroy the Egyptian Air Force on the ground, and they needed to do a surprise attack, and Israel did. They went in, flew in, and destroyed the entire Egyptian Air Force on the ground, and it was a surprise attack. And some idiot admiral thinks it's a good idea to send in a U.S. intelligence ship so they can monitor everything that's going on in an active combat zone. And which admiral did that? I guarantee you he got kicked out of the service and his name was never mentioned again or heard of, and then he was put on the fast train out of there. But everybody trots out the guys who got shot up because Israel apparently launched an attack. Because this was like, okay, Israel was either going to exist or not exist. Based on this one action, the Air Force had to go in and destroy. The Israeli Air Force had to go in and destroy the Egyptian Air Force on the ground, or they were going to be overrun by Soviet tanks. Okay, there was no third. There's nothing. There's only two choices: you either win that battle or you're destroyed. And so some admiral sends a ship in. And everybody blames Israel for not wanting to be destroyed. Well, that's just the way things are. In the real world, you send in an intelligence ship into an active combat zone where the nation of Israel is going to just disappear from the face of the earth because they're going to be overrun by Soviet T-55 tanks, mass hordes of them. And so that's what happened to the USS Liberty. Some idiot admiral sent with no and clueless ordered the ship in there, and some idiot general in the IDF just take it out instead of. They could have said, "Get your ass out of there," but they took it out. Terrible thing that happened, but so they trot those guys out every time something happens with Israel. Anyway, so and the Palestinians have their narrative. What's going on in Gaza kind of sucks. I think a lot of people wish Israel or Palestine could have a homeland, but this all goes back to stuff that happened in the Third Jewish Revolt, and I'm not going to drag it all up, but Emperor Hadrian created the Jewish diaspora when he banned Judaism and under the penalty of death and threw all the Jews out of Jerusalem after the Third Revolt. Anyway, so anyway, I'm a son of a grandson of Holocaust survivor, so I like the Tavor rifle. It's one reason I bought it, and I've had a lot of fun shooting it. It's a great rifle. I got a light green laser on it, and I would really like to see. I'm looking forward to all the new options that are coming out. I'm looking forward to the optics competition and seeing who wins it. I think the bullpup forum is a great place to look, keep track of all. They have stuff on all the bullpups, not just the Tavor. They've got a section for each different kind of bullpup. Well, I don't know how active they all are because the Tavor is the best, most popular. Obviously, it was a gun of the year. They sold 20,000 in a year. But the whole thing is just keep an open mind. Don't believe everything you hear on the internet. And I think that how long has this chat been going? Shoot, I don't know. It's going to be fun to watch what happens. I know they've got a new sniper, Lapua sniper rifle coming out eventually that they introduced at the Europe Arms Show. But hey, the world is a messed up place. The world is screwed up, and I guess that's one reason I bought an AK. That's the reason I bought an AK, and because the world's screwed up. And the reason I bought a Tavor was because I'm the grandson of Holocaust survivors. So that pretty much sums it up. I mean, the one that always goes bang that you can always rely on. But I swear, when I go to an AK, when I go to range with Tavor, I hit everything. Unless there's a fail to feed problem. And so that's why I'll put the riser on and I'll check out the new optics and stuff. But if it's working, don't mess with it. Don't fuck with it if it's working. But because the whole thing with my neck, the older you get, the more ergonomic you need it to be. And so of course the AK, that always goes bang. You never ever have any doubts. Tavor's almost there, and so it's right there, but it's there. You got to keep it. You got to keep the bulk carrier group really clean, I think, is the main issue. And they were saying something between round and square, and I'm not a engineer, or a gunsmith, but I just take them out and shoot them. So I'm a guy in Hawaii with a MSC Red Dot and a Tavor and an AK and a few handguns, and which is, if the politicians ever get their way, nobody will be able to have. But Hawaii's not so bad on the gun laws. I did a chat there on the gun website channel about that, and so we had the hurricane. I survived the hurricane. I don't know what else to say about the Tavors. Just keep an eye on all the new products coming out for it. There's about 100 different things you can attach to it. I think the laser. I don't have any night vision at this point, and hunting at night is illegal in Hawaii. But I don't think target practice is. That's one thing I forgot to ask. Just doing target practice isn't. But as far as I know, of course, they might not allow shooting after dark on state land. Private land that probably is okay, but hunting wouldn't be. but just practice shooting. So if you miss everything that you aim at, then you don't have anything to worry about. So if you're going to go hunting at night, don't hit anything. But if you're going to just say you're taking target practice, I don't know. The laws are so fucked up. But I think I covered everything on the Tavors that I need to. So I don't know if anybody else is going to show up from the link I posted on what was it, the right, the Bullpup Forum. So check out the Bullpup Forum. Check out Gearhead for that, gearhead.com for that rail. And check out the new True Dot site. It's not an M5 and it's not an MSE. I don't know what's up with the MSE. I don't know. I have no clue. They haven't said anything. Roger still says he has some available, and there's some available in Jakarta. On that REI land, REI. If you type MSE Jakarta, it'll probably come up, or MSE AQC 2. It'll probably come up on an internet search engine search. Anyway, thanks for listening to this chat. That's pretty much it for now. I hope they come up with some kind of peace deal in Gaza where they don't have to keep. They're going to run out of rockets eventually, or holes to hide in, or food. I don't know. They're going to lose the war of attrition to Hamas, but it's. I can tell you this: Israel ain't going anywhere unless you kill every Jew in the entire world. And I'm Jewish, so I think when push comes to shove, pretty much everybody, if it came down to it, everybody would fly over there and pick up a rifle. Now you have to actually speak Hebrew to join the IDF. But there was a time when you didn't. They first went over there that they couldn't. Nobody spoke the same language, and nobody knew how to shoot a rifle, and they just all threw them into the line and hoped for the best. But I think the IDF is a little bit better and more professional than that now, and therefore, it's not something you would actually want to have to do to go into combat. But it seems to me like they can hit a hole in one with their artillery and their air force anyway. So I guess Hamas is just have to get closer and closer and closer to the schoolhouses and hospitals when they launch their rockets at us Jews, and it's just sad they bring out all that old propaganda, and the world buys it, and I think pretty much the UN Israel's perfectly capable of ignoring the UN, but they do ship a lot of their agriculture products and stuff to Europe and stuff, so it can have economic problems. It's an interconnected world, so I hope eventually one day that they can get rid of Hamas and do some kind of deal with Abu Mazen and PLO and Fatah. I don't think they will because they're just so far apart. Just everybody throws on all their preconditions. I think everybody knows what the deal is going to be. They already reached it, and Yasser Arafat just didn't sign it because he didn't want to be remembered as the guy who gave up the holy places. And that's what it was all about. And he didn't want to be the guy who lost Jerusalem. That was the king of Jordan's fault, or something like that. It's just people. It's very historical kind of a land. So I think that they can do it. But it won't be with Obama. And it's what says only Nixon could go to China or something. And I don't know who we can't get Nixon back anymore, so maybe we should just give Obama a Nixon mask and have him show up on a plane. I don't know what the answer is over there, but I hope somebody finds it someday, because shooting people with rifles rockets is not a good way to live. Israel can win any war, but if you have a war with your neighbor who lives next door, nobody wins, right? So that's the end of this chat, and I thank people for watching. And hopefully, if people from the Bullpup Forum want to come on another chat some other time, just let me know. Specifically, would like to hear from the people who make stuff for the Tavor accessories and why they make stuff. I mean, they can't make a lot of money doing it, So they've got to, be in it for the engineering or the glory or the fun of it. I mean, and hey, shooting sports is fun. That's why I like to go to the range. It's just fun to shoot a Tavor. It's fun to shoot an AK, and the accessories make it even more fun. I hope everybody listens to this chat once, and I didn't ramble too much. And I'll tell you one thing I knew more than about the Tavor and bullpups than anybody on the gun websites chat, and they have 56 viewers because it's a gun websites chat. But they just didn't have anybody on there that actually knew anything about a Tavor or bullpups in general, And the bullpups have been around for a long time. If anybody saw the History Channel show on bullpups, Patton drew up a really bad one. And that was a good idea. It never got made, and there's the Steyr AUG has been out there, but that came with an optic. But the Tavor was I think they're coming out. They got the micro Tavor coming out. But hey, in the war right now in Gaza, everybody's using. Looks like from all the video footage I've seen, M16s. So that's what I saw with on the IDF channel, YouTube channel, the IDF North American Desk. IDFNA is the name of the channel on YouTube for the IDF videos. But hey, let's hope they come up with peace, because I've already seen enough war footage for the rest of this year myself, And I hope all of us range guys who just like to go to the range and shoot have a good time shooting Tavors. And thanks for watching, everybody. This has been a Hawaii Volcano Squad Tavor Chat. Aloha.